You didn't miss the red flags, you just couldn't afford to see them. Because when love feels like survival, the truth is a luxury you can't pay for. Welcome to a deep dive. This is video 3 of the TruTalkX Masterclass. Red flags you normalized because love felt like survival. Today we're spending time in the dark. For most of you, your last relationship wasn't a romance. It was an emergency exit. You weren't looking for a partner, you were looking for a life raft. We need to define survival love. It's when your attachment to a person is fueled by the fear of what happens if they leave, rather than the joy of when they stay. Let's talk biology. When your nervous system is consistently in a state of high alert, your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that spots logic, shuts down. The amygdala takes over. It doesn't care about red flags. It only cares about immediate safety. And in that moment, the person hurting you is also the only person you think can save you. This is the ultimate paradox of toxic love, looking to the arsonist to put out the fire. You normalize the heat because you were afraid of the cold. Normalizing is a slow process. It's the incremental surrender of your boundaries. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens one compromise at a time. It starts with the small things, a joke at your expense that you didn't call out, a mood you felt responsible for fixing, the first time you swallowed your truth for their peace. It is time for the forensic audit. We are going to list the red flags you called quirks or bad days. Be honest. The ledger doesn't lie. Audit point 1. The permission gap. Were you asking for permission for things that adults don't ask permission for? Who you saw, what you wore, where you went. You called it respect, but respect is a two-way street. Permission is a one-way gate. You were being managed, not loved. You were a ward of the state. Audit point 2, the emotional tax. Were you the only one managing the emotional climate? If they were happy, you were safe. If they were angry, you were in danger. Walking on eggshells is a survival posture. It's the constant scanning of their environment for threats. You spent so much time reading them you forgot how to read yourself. Audit point 3, the information embargo. Did you find yourself hiding things? Not because they were wrong, but because you knew the reaction would be too much to handle? Secrecy in a relationship is often a self-preservation tactic. You created a secret world where you could breathe because the shared world was suffocating. Audit point 4, selective memory. Did you have to forget the bad nights to survive the good mornings? You curated a highlight reel of a disaster. When you normalize red flags, you become your own gaslighter. You tell yourself it wasn't that bad. You tell yourself you're being too sensitive. You do their work for them. Audit point 5, the isolation protocol. Did your world get smaller? Did your friends become distractions and your family become toxic according to your partner? Isolation is a predator's greatest tool. It removes the mirrors that show you who you really are. In the dark, their version of you is the only one you see. Normalization is the erosion of identity. You didn't just lose your boundaries, you lost the person who was supposed to defend them. You became a ghost in your own home. You started speaking their language. You started thinking their thoughts. You became an expert in their needs and a stranger to your own. That is the survival cost. We all wear masks, but in survival love, the mask becomes your skin. You forgot how to take it off because you were afraid of what was underneath. You wore the mask of peace. You smiled through the insults. You agreed with the lies. You traded your integrity for a temporary ceasefire. That's not peace. That's an occupation. You wore the mask of strength. You told yourself you were strong enough to handle it. But enduring abuse isn't strength. It's a high tolerance for pain. Real strength is leaving. Peace that requires your silence is a lie. It's a peace built on your erasure. You were paying a debt you didn't owe with a currency you couldn't afford, your soul. Every time you normalized a red flag, you spent a piece of your future. You were financing a disaster with your potential. The interest rate was your sanity. The red flags weren't hidden, they were bright. But you were colorblind because you were looking for a life raft, and they were the only thing floating in your storm. But here is the truth. A life raft that is full of holes is eventually just a weight. You were staying in the water to stay with the raft, instead of swimming for the shore. The shore is your independence. It's the ability to be alone and feel safe. It's the realization that survival isn't the goal, living is. And you can't live in a state of emergency. Breaking the cycle of normalization requires a brutal level of honesty. It requires you to look at the red flags and call them by their real names. No more euphemisms. Stop calling it passion when it's possession. Stop calling it protection when it's control. Stop calling it love when it's a hostage situation. Words matter. When you change the labels, you change the power dynamic. A bad day is an isolated event. A pattern of abuse is a lifestyle choice. Reject the lies you told yourself to survive. Action 1. The audit list. Write down 3 things you normalized this week. Don't justify them. Just name them. Look at them on the page. That is your evidence. Action 2. Calculate the exit fee. What will it cost you to leave? Not just financially, but emotionally. Face the price. It's high, but the cost of staying is higher. It's your life. Action 3. Reclaim one piece of yourself. Today, a hobby you stopped, a friend you missed, a thought you silenced. Take it back. It belongs to you. I am not a project. I am not a problem to be solved. I am not a character in someone else's drama. I am the architect of my own peace. Declare it. I am no longer in a state of emergency. I do not need to settle for breadcrumbs just because I am hungry for safety. I am the table. I am the feast. I am home. The pivot begins when you realize that safety isn't found in another person's approval. Safety is the ability to stand alone and not feel like you're dying. It's the transition from survival to sovereignty. It's the moment you stop looking for a life raft and start building a ship. You are the captain now. Exhale. Love should be a place where you can breathe, not where you have to hold your breath to stay alive. If you can't exhale, you aren't home. You're just hiding. You deserve a love that doesn't require you to be a survivor. You deserve a love that allows you to be a person. Don't settle for less than your humanity. But what happens when the person you're surviving is yourself? What if the red flags are coming from inside the house? What if you are the arsonist? In video 4, we're going deep into the identity sabotage. We'll look at how you became the architect of your own prison, the internal red flags. We'll dissect why you keep choosing people who validate your worst fears about yourself. The cycle ends when the secrets are out. The eviction begins now. This is the TruTalkX Masterclass. We are building the blueprint for a version of you that doesn't just survive, but rules. Every brick matters. Every truth counts. This is more than a video series. It's a forensic reconstruction of your worth. We are clearing the rubble to reveal the monument underneath. You are the monument. Don't miss video 4. The eviction notice has already been served. Now we just have to clear the room. The keys are in your hand. I'll see you in the next one. Stay disciplined. Stay forensic. Stay sovereign. The truth is coming for you, and it's bringing everything you ever lost with it. This is TruTalkX. Video 3. Complete. The survival ends today. Living begins tomorrow. TruTalkX. Check the description for the discipline audit worksheets. Rule your life. Forensic love is the only love that lasts. Out. For those of you still listening, we're going even deeper. Let's talk about the familiarity trap. Why your brain finds comfort in chaos.